Okay. It says I'm live. Can you guys hear me? Am I coming in? Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Ah. Hopefully there's sound this week. There is. There he is. Okay. Hello, everybody. You can't, oh my gosh, you can hear me. Look at that. That's amazing. I got it to work. Can you believe it? All right, good, good. Here we are as another week, another Monday. Hope everybody's week has been going well. I'll wait a minute or so for other folks to hop on. I had a friend in town this past weekend, and we were chatting about things that inspire us, keep us going and nurtured and whatnot. And I was saying how much I have missed without even really realizing it, doing meditation, leading it, things like that. So it's exciting to get back into YouTube and get rocking and rolling with this. A lot of good things are coming out. Online course will be done by mid-December and ready to be up for sale by January is the hope. So really excited about that, and having some really fantastic feedback from all the beta testers with that. So that's good news. And what else? Yeah, I just there's going to be a lot that's coming out this next year. Going to get back into the YouTube channel. Going to start recording more videos in addition to like the live meditation Mondays, and just putting maybe 5 or 10 minute video clips up of various subjects and seeing if that resonates with people and is helpful. So I'm really looking forward to a lot of good things coming up in 2025. So, all right. Well, why don't we go ahead and get started? I'm going to be leading a little bit of a different meditation today. This concept for the meditation actually came to me in meditation. I had been wanting to find a way to describe these different levels of consciousness that we hear about and we come across, but it can be confusing because everyone seems to have not everyone, but many times their own answers, or there's competition in terms of, no, this means that, and this state of consciousness means this, and here are the characteristics. And then let's add one more layer on top of that, which is looking at is it densities versus levels of consciousness and whatnot, dimensions and whatnot. So it can get really convoluted out there. And so I had wanted a simple way to put into the course of trying to have us understand what we commonly refer to as 3D and what that means. And then moving into 5D and a fairly simple explanation in terms of what that means, and a metaphor in terms of what can help us move from one place to the next. So that's going to be the basis for the meditation this evening, and hope you like it. So before we launch in, I feel called to say to comment, like, subscribe, as they say, but if you have any reactions to the metaphor, I'd love to hear it, see if it makes sense for you. As well as if you're newer here and you haven't subscribed, I would encourage you to do that, because I'm going to do my best to continue to try to get the audio working and everything with all of these. But whenever I do go on, when you hit that bell, then you're going to get a notification of that. And so some people have reached out and said, oh, I can't find you, or I can't find the link, or all of that. And so this is just a simple way to kind of speed things up if you're interested. Okay, everybody. Well, let's go ahead and begin. So go ahead and get into a comfortable position. And if you'd like, you can close your eyes, gently loosening your gaze. And we'll usually start in the same way, which is taking a few minutes to transition before we launch into the meat. And we're going to work on getting in touch with our bodies, getting in touch with our body, getting in touch with our breath, and looking at being more connected and grounded to the here and now. So, taking a moment as we transition to just simply bring your awareness to your breath. Noticing the rise and the fall of your chest with each inhale and the slight pause in the exhale. Throughout our day, we carry a lot of varied energy around with us. And this energy is almost like a static cling that can adhere to us. So let's now move to grounding. So we'll begin by having had our attention on the breath, slowly doing a brief body scan, inch by inch, moving down the body, scanning our arms, scanning our chest and upper back, our lower back and our lower torso, moving to the hips and the thighs, almost as if we're painting our body with this awareness consciousness. Moving down the legs, inch by inch, just observing. And down to our feet. Taking a moment to feel your feet as they make contact with the floor. And to now imagine stemming from the bottom of your feet are little roots, slowly making their way, moving past the floorboards, moving past the possible floors that might be beneath you, growing in size and strength, moving now into the ground, into the earth. Down and down these roots go. Feeling a sense of nourishment as they further make contact with the soil, with the charged energy from Mother Earth. Moving now into the center of the earth, feeling a sense of stability, feeling anchored and really grounded and present. Now imagining this soft, kind, loving energy flowing up through the root system, up into our bodies, feeling nourished, feeling whole, feeling at peace. Breathing in this energy that has the same quality to it, floating in the air around us. And on each in-breath, we soak this energy in through our lungs. And on the out-breath, we let go of anything that is not us. Breathing in peace, nourishment, and love. And breathing out tension and tightness and stress. Clearing this static cling energy, giving it permission to carry on its journey outside of us, guiding it to the ground to be recycled by Mother Gaia. Taking one deep, intentional in-breath and feeling this sense of stability, a sense of presence and groundedness. Doing this type of precursor work before we launch into the meditation has profound impacts in terms of the quality of the experience that we get when we practice meditation. So what I'd like you to do now is to envision yourself on the base floor of a 3-story building. And it could be taller. The details are kind of irrelevant. But you're inside of this building, much perhaps like a warehouse or other large office building. And as you enter in and get shuffled in with everyone else who are dotted around this base floor of a building, that you see people you've known your whole life. You see various rooms that you can explore. You even see in one corner of the floor a larger than life chess game with very large pieces. And as you look around on this floor, you realize that this feels like home. This is familiar to me. I know these faces. I know what happens on this floor. There is comfort that comes from predictability. Our brains crave this feeling as it constitutes a sense of safety. when things are predictable. And that's how we're wired. And this floor has certain characteristics or qualities to it. There's a sense of time, of me moving from one place to the next. There is a sense of heaviness, stress, maybe anger, sadness, anxiety or fear, pressure to have to achieve. This scarcity perspective that I'm over here and other people are over there, and we are vying for little slices of the same pie. And everyone's thinking the same way that we are when we're on this floor. And we might have goals, and it takes time and effort and tension, striving, hustling to achieve our goals. All of these descriptions that I'm saying describe the characteristics of this floor. And the term that we use to describe this level or floor is 3D. 3D. We can all relate to this floor. We all know what it's like to feel tension and pressure and lack and stress and the need for more, something beyond what currently is. And from here on out, the phrasing or the term that we can use to describe this theme or flavor is 3D. Now, it's important to note that there's no judgment when we use these terms. It's just the description, like numbers on various floors. So take a moment as we're getting familiar with this base floor of how this shows up for you. How has this world of 3D that we're exploring here tonight show up for you, perhaps in brief moments or longer stretches of time today in your life, with the things that might have been going on earlier in your day, or perhaps your weekend, or perhaps this past week or month? Where were there moments where I'm not really present? I'm stuck in my head. I'm stressed and striving and using lack as a motivator for me to get to somewhere that I can't currently be. This world of doing to achieve. Even our reflection on ourself is very conditional here. I will give myself permission to be okay with me or what could be only when I finish this thing, when X condition happens. All of this is 3D. And one day, as you wake up and are on the constant treadmill of life on this base floor, that you hear a noise. And that noise happens to have you look up and you see something odd for the first time because you never really have looked up before. And as you look up, you see movement above you, and there are people. There's something that exists beyond this floor. And it might intrigue you. It might be something that you overlook and move back to your day. But eventually, there's been a seed that's planted, and curiosity begins to grow. We want to ask ourselves if there are other floors, because there's certainly something going on above, then what's there? What is that? And one day, you are walking, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, in a very unpredictable way, you see a ladder that you almost bump into, and it's right there. And you decide, I'm going to take this ladder. And so you start climbing up, 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 up. And now our head pops through onto another floor, just as we wondered. And you look around. And as your head looks around, without even fully making it to this next floor, you can feel that there are different qualities on this floor. Things just aren't the same. You aren't in Kansas anymore when you play around with these energies on this floor above. And maybe that's enough. And you take the ladder back down and you say, I don't think I'm quite ready for that. It's too new and too scary. And there's two ways that we have ladders put in front of us. And those are either through moments where we have breakthroughs or downloads or expansions, whatever word you want to use, where we start to look and see things differently in life. Or for the vast majority of us, the ladders usually show up as pain. Pain of life circumstances or other obstacles that we face, where we say, I can't stay on this floor anymore. I've got to look at something else. This floor no longer serves me. I've outgrown it. So we look for another ladder and we move up to the next floor. Now, ladders could be a lot of different things, and we'll talk about some of those things in a minute. But let's first look at what happens when you're on this next floor. This is what we'll be calling the fourth floor. And the qualities here are different because, first of all, the ceiling's not as tall. So as we dust ourselves off and stand up on this floor, we're kind of forced to crouch down. And we see other people who are doing the same. And as we look around, by its very nature, we're kind of being somewhat forced to have our head look downwards. And when we do, we're somewhat startled because as we look down, the floor is not made out of the same material as the floor was below. For on this fourth floor, as we look down, the floor is made out of glass. And as we look down, we can see that all too familiar floor below us. The well-trodden path that we have taken every day of waking up and getting ready to do what we do, eating food, communicating with others, accomplishing tasks, returning home, having some leisure time, perhaps, getting ready for bed, and doing the same thing over and over again. But your relationship with this treadmill is different now because you're now looking at the pattern. You're no longer there experiencing it. There's a shift that's happening because your perspective has now changed. If you recall, one of the attributes of the third floor is that there is a chessboard. with larger than life chess pieces. And each of those pieces at various moments can represent us as we struggle and strive and fight to win the game, not knowing when our next attack might be coming or how we need to best prepare with our pieces on the table. But there's a pressure to have to make sure that we win. And now that we're on this higher floor looking down, we have a different vantage point, for we can now see the chessboard and where all the pieces are at one time. And we look around, and as we see other people, we see them experiencing the same thing that we are. They too are looking at things in a very different, maybe scary because it's new, but a shift has occurred. They too are taking that step back from this living on autopilot type experience that we have when we're on that third floor. And we might stay here for a little while and eventually fall back on the ladder of consciousness, fall back down to living by default on the 3D floor. But each time we do this, things have changed. There's been a seed that's been planted. And the more we decide to go up, 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 and look down and see things from a different point of view, that there's freedom that comes with that. There is expansion, increased awareness, or different perspectives allow now for more insight, for us to solve problems that we're facing. We realize now as we look down that there are actually a multitude of ladders that exist all across this floor. So what could be some ladders? Well, meditation, what we're doing right now, can be one. Going to therapy or seeing a life coach. Comedians live on this floor. They're also reflecting and giving funny commentary to everything that happens on the floor below. Healers exist on this floor. People who have different perspectives. Some might be called conspiracy theorists. But people that look at life differently. Philosophers and poets. Those who are connected with the creative arts all live, at least on this next dimensional floor. And as we look around and perhaps connect with others who we can resonate with, and we are vibing on the same frequency, since we're on this same floor, that we might form little pools or pockets of communities of other people who see what we're seeing. But at the same time, like I mentioned earlier, this ceiling is not very tall. And so it's kind of cramped and a little uncomfortable to stay here. And as we begin to look around the floor, we see that there are still ladders for us to go into perhaps a different realm, just like the one below took us to where we currently are. But before we go any further, bring it back to ourselves, seeing if this metaphor I'm proposing makes sense to you. What have been ladders in your life? Watching a documentary, having a nourishing conversation, thinking about things in a different way. What are ladders for you to get you out of 3D? To get you out of default thinking? To get you unstuck from the heaviness that comes from all of these negative emotions. And now, what's it like for you being on this next floor? When you're on this fourth floor and you see how the qualities here are different, life is lighter. Things are coming to you in an easier way to grasp. By definition, you see more of the picture. Your perspective has shifted because you're now looking at the world below rather than just being in it. How have you been in this perspective today or this weekend or this past week or month? What has that looked like for you? What do you notice when you're here? How do you know you're on this floor? How do you feel in your body? How do your thoughts change? What different emotions might you feel when you're here? What does the energy feel like inside of you when we're here? And keeping little tabs, little understandings, little points of remembrance of the concept behind this metaphor and how it relates to you. Respecting this shift in our awareness or perspective on things. And now, as we move forward, we see these ladders, and this itch of curiosity leaves us with a natural conclusion. It's time to keep going up. What's next? I'm all about expansion and growth. Bring it on. What could this next floor lead to? That perhaps could be any yummier than where I'm at right now. Because while it can be distressing and difficult at times, especially at first, seeing the floor below us in a different way, eventually we can commiserate with others who are also experiencing the same thing on this floor. And there's a connection that's made. A shared grieving, even, because we can't put the genie back in the bottle. We can't go back to living on that third floor in the same way because we've now looked at it from a different perspective. So the only natural conclusion we can draw is to keep climbing the ladder. So now, with mustering great courage, we find a ladder and we do our best, rung by rung, to move our way upwards. And as we get closer, we feel a very inviting warmth emanating from the floor above. And as we get to the floor above, move away from the ladder and stand up, that there is an instant feeling that this floor is different. Things have changed here, just like they did below. While time kind of seemed to slow down a little bit when I was on that fourth floor, I'm now, by definition, on the fifth floor, and it looks as though time doesn't exist. No one's moving. I see other people here, but they all seem to have a smile on their face and don't seem to be hustling, moving, striving, needing to get from a point A to a point B. They seem happy where they are. And so we invite this energy into us now. Being open to what this energy can convey to us. And so we might sit and convey or broadcast this intention of openness. Openness to receive what this floor might be able to offer us. And very quickly, we realize how welcoming this energy is. It goes straight to our heart. We feel a sense of warmth emanating from our chest. There is an activation almost. We feel perhaps even a slight buzzing or humming noise. Our body might even shake a little, but it's all welcomed and inviting. When we're on this floor, this fifth floor, this fifth level, this fifth dimension, we see it's so unlike the other two. I'm no longer in 3D where I'm striving, hustling, needing to get from point A to point B. And with that fourth floor, I'm still in my head, still observing, monitoring, reflecting, dot connecting. But here, it doesn't feel like there's an agenda. I'm no longer really even in my head. I just feel so strongly that I need to be in my heart. I need to be in my heart right now. And I can feel that. I can feel that loving energy that's emanating from me with such an intensity that it almost overwhelms me. We've all had moments where we've been on this floor before, having a nourishing conversation or deep philosophizing. That can be a ladder for us to get us here. We had moments in meditation, moments of deep heart-based connection. This feeling of such strong love. such a sense of at one-ment with all that is, feeling connected and united with life itself, with this raw, passionate, strong, and loving force. This energetic drumbeat. And when we tune into this feeling right here is the heartbeat of life itself. This is 5D. And it feels so yummy and so inviting to where we want more. And yet there's this paradox that exists. Because when I look down, all the way down now, to the third floor that I thought was home, that I thought since I had lived there most of my life, that this is all there is, that as I move up this ladder and I see others making the same move, that when we get to this fifth floor, this concept of home takes on a whole new meaning. In a strange way, if we're not familiar with being here, when we feel this energy, there is a knowingness. We know this is home. We know this is who we truly are. We know that this is the place that we go to when we strip down reality and get to the bare bones of what truly is. The illusion, the mysteries, the lack, the not knowingness, the heaviness that comes with life, all exist on floors below. And here we feel light and love and connection with everyone and everything. This is the floor of miracles. This is the floor we come to when we know we need to tap into infinite possibilities. All of that exists right here on this fifth floor. This is the realm of the quantum field itself. Let's take a moment to really settle in to this feeling and to get familiar and more acclimated with this floor. As we look around, what do you see? Who do you see? What else do you notice? What do you feel? Stay in connection with your heart here. The mind is the floor of the fourth dimension. And by coming up here, part of the criteria To stay on the fifth floor means we have to stay in our heart, stay in love. See if you can bring your awareness now to your chest. Sometimes it can be helpful to put a hand on your chest and to just simply now breathe with me in and out, breathing in and out from your heart, from this sacred center of who we are. Getting in touch with the love within and feeling this feeling resonate with the energy all around us on this floor. Make this floor your home. How could you make this floor more of your own? What could this look like for you? Perhaps claiming a room, setting up a couch or a chair or a meditation cushion. How could you feel like you're really settling in? We are welcome here at any time. This doorway is always open for us to come. But it takes intention to come here. You can't get to this floor without climbing ladders. We need to move out of that third floor, that floor of lower, heavier, more negative emotions, that floor of predictability and living on autopilot and coming from a place of scarcity where time rules all. And as we lighten up and make it to that fourth floor, we're out of the quagmire, the quicksand. But we're still in our head. We're in our head. And if we are in our head, that's the biggest clue. The biggest clue that lets us know there are more ladders. There's another floor. And whenever we go back to that fifth floor and we hang around there, we know now what that feels like. That love, that unexplainable and intense feeling that goes well beyond a word, love. We feel so connected with other people and with life. We can't help but exude abundance. this place of peace, of non striving. When we're here, time stops. And as I said earlier, this is also the land of infinite possibility. So let's tap in to this energy now, this knowingness that matter, atoms, solids of any kind, all live way, way down underneath us. Where we are right now, it's all energy here, infinite energy. Infinite energy and infinite potential. In this realm here, we can tap into learning how to be a master creator. So let's tap into this intelligence of the quantum field. Take a moment now to get in touch with your heart, knowing that there is a higher intelligence that speaks to us through our heart. This region of our body is a portal that when we tap into can take us directly to this floor. So knowing that when we're here, we can be so much more purposeful with how life can show up for us and what we can achieve or acquire or experience. Take a quiet moment now to tune into your heart. What is it saying? Like our meditation last week on body talk. What message does my heart have for me right now? Is there anything that I feel called to say to my heart? What experience in this thing called life would I like to call in if I had a magic wand and I could have something that isn't being experienced now in my life? What is that? What would that be for me? Remember, this fifth floor is about getting in touch with our desires, getting in touch with our dreams. Recognizing that our potentials are infinite. What's next for me? And when I have something of what I wish to call in, that's part one. Part two is to work with this energy in a very particular way. we have to understand the properties of how this energy works. And how this energy works is very much akin to a boomerang. So if we have a desire, what I'd like you to do now is to suspend your disbelief, because the floor below of time would interpret this very differently than how things are on this fifth floor. Remembering that time doesn't exist. By definition, then, the desire that we want is already ours. It's already here. It's happened. There's no waiting or hoping or wondering or feeling the lack of. It is now dropped into our lap. What does that mean for you? What does the little videotape in your mind, with all 5 of your senses, begin to experience if we play with this idea that that which I want could be experienced now? What do I see in my mind's eye? And how can I turn that thought into an emotion I can express and feel? What would I feel if this desire were occurring like the videotape is showing? Can I feel that feeling now? Feel that feeling in your body. See if you can now crank up the volume of the intensity of this feeling to have it be broadcasted with greater intensity. When we do this right now in this moment, this is casting out the boomerang. Where would you go? What would you do? How would you feel in your body if your desire were already here? What would you do next? Having confidence that right now, on an invisible, energetic level, our desire is being broadcasted out of us like a ripple effect. And this seed, in the form of emotion and clear thought, the seed of our desire has now been planted into this field, this quantum field. And now our job is to let go, to release, to trust, and to let the intelligence of this field do part 2. Just like if we owned a garden, we don't dig up the seed every day, wondering if it's sprouted yet, and why we haven't harvested the yield. We have to trust this germination period. So we do that here with our desire. And we let it go, and we offer, in closing, a sense of gratitude, sense of relief and trust, knowing that we understand the mechanisms of how this formula works now. We understand the different floors, the different qualities to these floors, and knowing how good it is to get to this fifth floor, to be here in this 5D energy. To know that at any moment throughout your day or week, you can come back to this meditation and rewatch it or do a modified version on your own. As with anything, the more we spend time in a certain place, the more we build momentum. And that momentum shows up as increased magnetism. So the more we hang out in 5D, the more we're going to feel the effects of it. And as we wrap up today, taking one last breath, being as present and grateful as possible for this experience, for this time together, for you showing up for you tonight, to be here and do this valuable, inner, quiet, but powerful work. This is the work. We are transitioning to a whole new world, a new paradigm. And it's now going to be led with the heart. With the heart. This is the calling card, the password to get in, to authentically come from this place of love. And the more we practice this, like with any skill, the easier it will be for us to stay in the heart. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. I'm curious as we wrap up if there's anything anyone would like to say, or what their experience was like, or questions they might have. I always like to leave a few moments of openness for that. And if not, that's fine too. You can always come back and leave more comments later. But this is the work for us. This is the work as we end these meditations every week to give you something to be thinking about for this next week. And this would be my recommendation, to reflect on this idea, to see how in every day and in every week you show up on these different floors. And most importantly, how they show up for you. What's different for me when I'm on that third floor and struggling, striving, efforting, feeling the lack and the heaviness from it all? What gets me there? What has me slip on the banana peel to fall floors? And how is that different when I'm on the fourth floor? And how is that different from when I'm on the fifth floor? And then making that a sacred priority for us to do our best to stay as much as we can in, or at least in close proximity to the heart. So, thank you all for being here. I hope you have a great week. Looking forward to hearing from you in comments or in the chat next week of what this experience was like and how your week went. Looking forward to continue building this rhythm as we continue on, and hope you have a blessed week. Stay in your heart all, and we'll see you next Monday. Bye for now.